Hello and welcome to Government Services, a rendition of CMS 588 Electronic Funds Transfer EFT Authorization Agreement Form. Today we hope to go ahead and go over this form so that you can fill it out and send it in to your administrative contractor. In order to go ahead and get this, we do want to let you know that you can use our website, NGSMedicare.com, and then go to Resources, select Forms, select Enrollment, and then, of course, the EFT 588 will be available for you. So we have the form today, and the form looks like this, and we're going to go over some sections for you so that you can populate answers. When you need this form is when you are a biller that's going to be providing services and billing Medicare. If you're a sole proprietor, a sole owner of your Type 2 NPI, an entity, an institution, anybody that is going to be receiving payment must fill this out. Also, if you're changing information for your banks, you will need to go ahead and populate the information too. So the first area is Part 1, Reasons for Submission. Now you're going to indicate the reason for the submission, which could just be that you're new and you're an individual such as a sole proprietor, or you're new and you're an entity such as an institution or a group clinic practice. It could be that you're changing your EFT, so then you just mark the change. Now, we do want to let you know that if you have a chain home office involved in which you are not receiving the repayments, you need to check this box off. You also need to have a letter signed and dated by the authorized official of the entity or individual, most likely it's an entity, that will be receiving the funds, as well as the authorized official for this enrollment. That must include also a copy of a voided check in the proper name. Now, Part 2 is where you're going to be entering the legal business name as it is for the enrollment for the individual physician or non-physician practitioner or the entity. And if it is for a Type 2 NPI or it does have an EIN, it has to be the name that is on the IRS document. In the event that you are sending it to a chain home office, that's where you need to indicate that chain home office information, legal business name, right here. The address, though, is going to be the entity address, city, state, zip, tax ID if it's an entity, or of course an EIN for your individual self. You mark the EIN. Or the tax ID, whichever it is off the IRS. And if it's an individual that's using the Social Security, you put the Social Security and the SSN marked. The NPI, and you could have more than one PTAN involved here. So they give you 2 spaces. If you don't have, actually 3 spaces, if you don't have PTANs involved, more than one, then you just go ahead and indicate the 1. So in the state of New York, you could possibly have 3 PTANs, so you're going to indicate all of them with the appropriate NPI that's involved. Now we're going to move on to Part 3, and this is the financial institute information. Here's where you're going to include the entity that you have your savings account or checking account with, their address, and it cannot be a P.O. box. And by the way, up here, your address cannot be a P.O. box either. You do not need to indicate the phone number or the contact person, but you definitely need to make sure you verify and the routing number and the account number. And if the account number has leading zeros, make sure you put those leading zeros on, because we, of course, are going to match it with a copy of a voided check that needs to be submitted with this, and or a copy of a bank confirmation letter. You also need to indicate if it's a checking account or a savings account. Now, rolling on to the next page that's going to need to be populated. Who is the contact information person for the banking account. Now, some entities are very large and they'll have the CFO, or it could just be the owner of the entity. So you indicate their name and their title, their phone number, and their email. And then whoever is the authorized or delegated official of the entity, and depending on if this is an initial enrollment or not, the authorized official might need to sign versus the delegated official. You will specify their phone number, email. It says optional, so that's up to you, but this is where we can reach out to them in case we have any questions. And then they must sign it and date it. Now, all this information does need, again, populated with the copy of the voided check or the bank confirmation letter, and you will mail it to the MAC that needs to have it with an application if it's an initial enrollment, or maybe you're changing the banking information for an established enrollment. I'm going to go to the first two documents, pages, and these are the instructions I just went over with you. So I hope this helps assist in understanding how to fill out this 588 application for CMS for your authorization of your banking. Thank you very much.